In Philadelphia, Eagles fans all over the world, they know what time it is. It's Dallas week. You have to beat Dallas. And somehow, some way that's become or grown to be the mantra of our seasons. If all else fails, just make sure you beat Dallas.
Happy Thursday. Good morning, NFC East fans. Once again, my name is Jeff Kerr, the host of Good Morning NFC East, also from CBSSports.com. And I got my man, Tone Shields, with me on a Thursday. Tone, are you starting to feel it now? It's Dallas week. I feel like the closer you get to it, the more excited you get.
It's so funny you brought that up. I was thinking about that this morning. You know, Typically as the days get closer and closer, I get a little bit more anxious and anxious. But this is a very strange feeling for me, and I don't know if it's good or bad, and I don't know if I should be worried. But I'm getting calmer and calmer as the day gets closer because I'm really starting to analyze both teams for what they are, for what they truly are. Isolated, not who they've played. Who are these teams in their own right? At
You
the
don't
end of
think
the
that
day, most likely we're going to be going up against Cooper Rush. And if this Philadelphia Eagles team can't find a way to beat Cooper Rush or harass Cooper Rush, we have a long-term problem on our hands.
you don't think that has anything to do with Eagles are 5-0, the Cowboys are 4-1. In the grand scheme of things, yeah, you don't want them to lose, obviously. It's going to be a dogfight in the NFC East if they do. But at the end of the day, you're still 5-1.
Yeah, but in Philadelphia, Eagles fans all over the world, they know what time it is. It's Dallas week. You have to beat Dallas. And somehow, some way that's become or grown to be the mantra of our seasons. If all else fails, just make sure you beat Dallas. And it's so funny because you brought up a very interesting topic before we started. You brought up the rivalries in the NFC East and who are our true rivals. Who's the Philadelphia Eagles' true rivals? Who's the Dallas Cowboys' true rivals? Because it's grown to a point where it seems as though the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys are rivals, but you feel differently.
I do. So growing up, to me, it's the Giants. So when I grew up in this, obviously, I lived my whole life in Philadelphia. When I really started getting into football, I mean, really started the whole Rodney P, Ty Detmer era. The Giants won 9 straight over the Eagles. The Eagles could not beat Jim Fossil, the Giants' former head coach, to save their lives. They did not beat them until Donovan McNabb hit James Thrash late in a Monday Night Football game in Giant Stadium, by the way, to beat the Giants. 13-year-old Jeff, you would have thought the Eagles won the Super Bowl because they finally beat the Giants, the defending NFC champions, the team the Eagles were looking up to. I grew up Doug Peterson getting a ball batted and then picked up by Michael Strahan in overtime with the vet, and the Giants won the game in overtime in Andy Reid's first year. The Giants always found ways to beat the Eagles. Tiki Barber was an Eagles killer. Monty Toomer, who I've interviewed before, very nice guy. Eagles killer. Kerry Collins, grew up in my area. Went to Penn State. Eagles killer. So to me, it was always the Giants. Yeah, I never liked the Cowboys because of the star thing and America's team, and I get that. You always want the Eagles to beat the Cowboys. To me, it was always the Giants because they always beat the Eagles, and then the Eagles returned a favor and beat them a lot, and then it killed me, Tone. This is why I really don't like the Giants, and again, nothing against the Giants. I mean, obviously, this is me growing up, but the fact that they were able to get 2 Super Bowls during the Andy Reid era and Andy Reid couldn't get one, it left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it sucked. While the Cowboys, they had T.O., who I did like, but the Eagles would find ways to just ruin their season, which was always awesome. And I mean, Dallas could always do it themselves. But to me, the Giants are the bigger rival. And it doesn't hurt that geographically, I could go to Giant Stadium right now and get there in probably 9 o'clock.
I'm looking at it from the perspective of, Philadelphia Eagles have grown this disdain for the Dallas Cowboys because you asked me, right?
Yeah.
And my instant reaction was the Dallas Cowboys. But you were like, no, it's actually the Giants. And I thought for a while, and I'm like, okay, technically you are right. Technically, the Giants are the Philadelphia Eagles' biggest rival. That is a fact because the Washington Commanders, formerly the Washington Reds, they are the Dallas Cowboys, technical rival, right? And I think just over the years, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys have had the more entertaining battles. Their games have meant more in the grand scheme of things because over the past several years, it's either been the Cowboys at the top or the Philadelphia Eagles at the top, and the occasional straggler of maybe Washington being at the top occasionally. But that's if the Eagles and the Cowboys respectively had terrible seasons. But for the most part, it's always been Eagles, Cowboys these past several years. And I think the younger fan, right, has become to believe the Dallas Cowboys are their actual rivals. And then let's just be totally frank about it. We hate Dallas. As an Eagles fan, I've grown up to have a disdain for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't like their logo. I don't like their colors. I don't like anything about them. And the Giants, we've little brothered them for so long. You kind of forget that they're even there. But this is a different season. The Giants are 4-1. The Cowboys are 4-1. The Eagles are 5-0. This is a very entertaining. This might be the most entertaining NFC East race in a long time. What say you about that?
So I want to go back into this whole Eagles Cowboys rivalry thing too. I think in the 90s, if you grew up in the 90s too, I think that was peak Eagles Cowboys rivalry because the Cowboys were on top of the world. They had the dynasty. They had Troy Aikman. They had Emmitt Smith. They had Michael Irvin. They had a lot of guys you didn't like. Eric Williams could not stand. By the way, he's a Philly guy, Eric Williams. He was the right tackle for the Cowboys for a long time. Him and William Fuller would just go at it, left and right, all the time. Every game, you know how we feel Eagles actually that was a streak for a while. Eagles Cowboys were on Sunday Night Football. They were on Monday Night Football, it seemed, every year, where it was in Dallas, where it was in Philly, because it was a good rivalry. And the Eagles were not as good as the Cowboys, but they always found a way to split with them. And I always felt like they were a thorn in the Cowboys' side for a long time. So it made for a good rivalry. I think, honestly, now, Cowboys fans probably hate the Eagles just as much as Eagles fans hate the Cowboys. Because Dallas looks up to Philadelphia now. The Eagles have been the better franchise since that dynasty ended, by far. I mean, the last time the Cowboys were, in my mind, relevant was when VCRs were ruling the world and before Britney Spears and NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys took over the music scene. I mean, Seven was the #1 movie, basically, the last time the Dallas Cowboys.
That's a great movie, by the way.
It is a great movie. But, yeah, to me, it's just, I think Cowboys fans actually respect the Eagles now. And to me, versions of respect are hate.
I think that's a good point because you respect the fact that they can catch you slipping, and you respect the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles for the past 20 plus years, they have been a model franchise. They've been a model for stability and a model for leadership. At the coaching position and at the ownership position, the GM position. Right? You think about the Dallas Cowboys, you have Jerry Jones out here doing weekly radio shows and constantly asserting himself as the owner, GM, decision maker. It's like you don't have to do that. That's why I love Jeffrey Lurie as the team owner because he plays his role. He understands that he's really not the football guy. He doesn't pretend to be. People forget Jerry Jones is an oil guy. So, he after being a part of the game for a while, you obviously start to learn the game and you pick up on things. But I think the reason the Cowboys have failed to reassert themselves after the Jimmy Johnson era is because one, they haven't found somebody that can really pull the best out of this team, like a Jimmy Johnson, but also Jerry Jones has just gotten in the way. I mean, it's fairly simple. I firmly don't think this franchise is going to ever take that next step until Jerry Jones, you know, takes that next step or moves to that next phase of life.
Which isn't going to happen. Let's be frank. I mean, the reason Jimmy Johnson left was because of Jerry Jones. They just couldn't get along. Bill Parcells, same thing. That Cowboys team under Bill Parcells should have been much better. And they were building that. And then all of a sudden, Bill Parcells leaves. He let his contract run out, decided not to come back. And when they had that great team with Tony Romo, with Terrell Owens, guys like that, they had a really good offensive line then, too. They had a really good defense with DeMarcus Ware. Guys, they went 13-3. They were number 1 seed. That should have been Parcells' team in 2007. That was the year I thought they actually were going to go to the Super Bowl. And they blew it. They lost to a Giants team they shouldn't have lost to. And we saw who won the Super Bowl that year. It was the Giants. To me, that was the closest they've gotten. That was not saying it was Romo's best year because he's had really good years. But they wasted a golden opportunity with Romo. And I think that was because of Jerry Jones meddling in. He couldn't let his coaches coach. And then he got his hand puppet, Jason Garrett, to coach. And he kept Jason Garrett along way too long, Tone. Like, he was satisfied. All of a sudden, Jerry Jones was satisfied with just winning the NFC East. And we all know Jerry Jones likes to give you the fool's gold, the Dallas Cowboys, we win Super Bowls here. No, I think Jerry Jones likes Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, writing about his team, good or bad.
Yeah, he's definitely more concerned about being seen. And it's not a good way to move. It's not sustainable in terms of success. And I'm if you notice, Mike McCarthy, his first year here, people were wondering like, how is that going to work out? And even this, I mean, look, the Cowboys, they're going to win games. They're going to play tough. They're going to be a thorn in your side. But what does Stephen A. Smith always say? What can go wrong will go wrong, and that's just been who they are. And it's so good for the Philadelphia Eagles to finally have a Super Bowl, so they can be able to sit at the table to a degree and finally puff their chest out a little bit. Because the Philadelphia Eagles have had opportunities when they've come close as well, and they haven't been able to get it done. That whole Diamond McNabb era, multiple NFC championships in a row, and one Super Bowl appearance. That's an underachievement in the grand scheme of things. And you can put it on so many different reasons. You can put it on poor coaching when it mattered most, poor situational football. You can put it on poor execution by the players at a specific time. There's so many ways you could probably go about it. But overall, this is going to be a big game this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. This game is the first domino to fall in terms of the NFC East race. And this can be a potential game where the Philadelphia Eagles begin to separate themselves. Or this could be a game where the Dallas Cowboys continue to stay afloat and edge everything out. And now you have the Dallas Cowboys, the Eagles tied at number 1. And can the Giants beat the Ravens? They beat the Packers. Anything's possible at this point. I personally don't think that game is going to be in the Giants' favor. But this NFC East race is probably the most entertaining divisional race in the NFL this year.
Oh, it definitely is. It's the best division in football. I'm not afraid to say it because it is. They're one of only 4 teams, 4 divisions. Sorry, I got to get that right. They're one of only 4 divisions since the merger to have 3 teams with 4+ wins after 5 weeks.
Wow.
And the NFC East did this in 2008. Now, this is a funny story, Tone. When they did it in 2008, it was Dallas, the Giants, and Washington. Do you remember what NFC East teams made the playoffs that year, 2008?
Oh, man, Jeff, you're the historian here. You got to help me out.
Okay, so the Giants got in. The Cowboys did not. Washington did not. Philadelphia did. Philadelphia was 3-2, by the way, when they were all those teams at 4 wins. That was the year the Eagles beat the Cowboys 44-6 in the winner-take-all game, when the Eagles needed everything to happen. Tampa Bay to beat I'm sorry, Oakland to beat Tampa Bay, 4-win Oakland to beat Tampa Bay, and the Bears to lose to the Texans, which happened, which set up Dallas, Philadelphia, and we all know what happened, 44-6, and Brian Dawkins' last game at the Link, just an absolutely crazy day. By the way, I think that was one of the craziest. I think that was peak Eagles Cowboys, by the way, because that was for all the marbles. T.O.'s last game in Dallas, just everything went wrong for the Cowboys that day. But I did want to bring this up when with Jerry Jones too. You know how he wants to always take over the spotlight. Remember when he said Dak would be back by like week 4? Oh, what happened to that?
I'm telling you, you cannot pay too much attention to what Jerry Jones says. You just can't. You're gonna end up pulling your hair out. But we got our guy Tom Kelly in the background, waiting in the rafters, waiting patiently, as I might say. And this is going to be a really interesting conversation that you guys are going to have, Jeff. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb's biggest supporter. So if you like Andy Reid or Donovan McNabb, TK's guy.
Hey, you heard it here first, you guys. Keep it locked. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to stay engaged in the content. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to JAKIB Sports YouTube channel, and also check out JAKIBsports.com. That's JAKIB Sports.com. Jeff Kerr will be back. This is Good Morning NFC East. Our next guest, Tom Kelly, is up. Keep it locked, you guys, and don't move.